Welcome to the Are All Bullies Bad podcast, challenging perceptions and shifting paradigms.
Hi guys, Simeon Callum again here from the AABB Team, and today we're going to be discussing success and what success means to you, and what does it look like, how does it feel, and how will you know when you've got it.
Yeah guys, as always, we really appreciate your feedback and your comments. They all get read and we use them to make the podcast more relevant. So we've got the Gmail, which is the AABBteam@gmail.com. We've also got the YouTube channel, which we hope you guys are listening on now. And if you are, don't forget to subscribe. It's AABB Team. And then we've also got the Instagram, and it's at AABB Team. So as always, thanks for the feedback and the comments. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you listening. Mm-hmm. So let's get into it, Sim.
Yeah, let's do it. I know everyone's got their own idea of success and what success means to them. So I guess I can only start with myself and say what success means to me. I guess in the past, success meant something different. I used to think being successful meant having nice, flashy things and loads of money and, looking the part. But the older I've got, and I guess the wiser I've got, I've decided for myself that success means being internally happy with myself. So internally, it means from the inside how I feel. And the way I feel portrays into the way I act, the way I look, the way I carry myself. And obviously, I still do like all the flashy things, the monies, the cars, the big houses. And I will still have all those things. But for me now, being successful from the inside first is definitely the biggest point for me. And then I do genuinely believe that once the inside's successful, the outside is got no choice but to follow. And it comes a lot easier. I don't know what you want to say on that one, Carl, but...
Yeah, I'm just listening to you there, Sim, and what you say about the meaning of success and what you use to define success.
Yeah.
In terms of being materialistic things from a young age, I think I was very similar. So, we've spoken in other podcasts around comparison and how we often use materialistic things to determine how well we're doing in life or where we're at.
Yeah.
But I think as you get older, and like you say, the more wiser you become, a lot of that just naturally drops away, and you get off the rat race, if you like.
Yeah.
You give up chasing this elusive dream that if you stay in that mindset, you're never going to be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
The success is always going to be one step ahead. It's always going to be, if I can earn this much a year, if I can own that car, if I can live in a house this big, then I can be considered a success.
Yeah.
And I think there's a definite link between success and happiness, but I think people get it the wrong way around. I think a lot of people are under the impression that when I'm successful, then I'll be happy.
Exactly, yeah.
So like you've just said there, materialistic things, when I get this, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But what you've come to realize is it's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
When you're happy inside and you've got happiness within, that will then naturally be portrayed on the outside. And what I find is that if you can maintain a level of happiness without the requirement of the materialistic things, without gloating of what you own and who you know and what car you drive, you give off this aura of positivity. And law of attraction, which I'm sure we will be touching on in another podcast in the future.
Yeah.
You will attract those things into your life.
Definitely.
But the difference is when you get round to attracting those things in your life, I feel that because you're at a level where you're not basing your success on the acquisition of those things, I believe that you'll actually appreciate them more. And you'll actually sort of attain more of those things because like I say, it's the law of attraction, but the happiness has got to start from within.
Of course. Yeah.
And we must, in order to be truly, what I feel, in order to be a true success, you've got to be happy in order to then breed success, not the other way around. Never base happiness on your level of success.
Yeah, that's something that I've learned as well. You said something a minute ago that was quite interesting. You says the older you get, the more you start to think in this way. And quite rightly, I agree. That's how it should work. But I think it's funny in this day and age how many people you find that, especially, I know I'm talking from my own experience as always, and this isn't like factual, but the amount of people I come across that are my age or older who are still in the belief that chasing all the riches and materialistic things will make them happier. And, from research and books that I read, I'm just being taught daily, day in, day out, that you have to find that internal happiness first to gain these things. So, I just think it's something that it needs to be practiced. It's not something that's going to come overnight. Yeah. And we are nurtured in the way that we're taught and brought up in the world that we are.
And we're still struggling with these things ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
We've not mastered this art yet.
Exactly.
We're still developing. We're still learning. Like you've just said, we're still reading the books.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've just listened to you there, and when you mention about, you've still got people around you who are still driven by this idea that, the more materialistic items you own, the more successful you are. I think a lot of the time is because those people are still in and amongst a group of people that are still judging success by those things, by those factors. Whereas what happens when you step outside and you actually go and meet people that, it's a bit of a paradox here. So when you step outside that circle and you actually want to start meeting some like-minded people who are driven, to be successful, but not in terms of owning these sort of, excessive items, if you like. Yeah. You actually find that they're the people that have probably got them at hand.
Exactly.
And instead of having one nice car, they've got 3 or 4 nice cars. Yeah. But it's not like that's governing their life. No. They're not evaluating their worth based on those possessions. They've just come naturally because they've given up the chase. Yeah. They've ploughed into wanting to be happy from the inside. They've poured their energy and effort into something positive, and as a result of that, the materialistic items that other people would chase have just come naturally. Yeah. And I'm not going to say easy, but it comes a lot easier
when you're not focusing every day. I need this, I need this, I need this.
And that's the word, isn't it? I need. Well, to me, like you've just said, we only need happiness, and happiness will then feed everything else. It will feed every other desire of our life.
Yeah. I mean, I always remember there's a story in the back of my mind when I was a young kid that my dad told me. And my dad, he's not very materialistic at all. He doesn't care about what he's driving. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being materialistic or wanting nice things, because let me just make it clear, I want and will have nice things. You know what I'm saying? I've still got my vision board at home with a hell of a lot of nice things on it, and I will get them. But my dad, not very materialistic. He's a spiritual man. He's a man of faith. I won't say from what faith, but he's a man of faith, and he believes in God and the higher power. And material things don't bother him at all. And he told me a story when I was younger that's always stuck with me, about 2 brothers who had an argument over, it was a brand new BMW at the time. I can't remember what year it was. I was a young lad, but he says, because he used to do missionaries to the prisons and visit young offenders. And he basically told me 2 brothers ended up in an argument over this BMW, and one of them ended up stabbing the other one and killing him. And it was over a new flashy BMW car, because they couldn't decide who
so
was going to have it.
Is this a true story?
This is a true story.
Oh, wow.
This isn't creative. This is a true story. And he was visiting, obviously, the one that had stabbed the other one. Yeah. And he was basically saying to me, son, he says it's a heap of metal. In 10 years, 20 years' time, it will be in the junkyard. And someone's lost their life over a heap of metal. A mother's lost a son. A son's lost his life. Well, and another one's lost his life because he's banged up for 20 odd years. So, And there's a quote I shared yesterday on Facebook, and I'll just read it. It says, "Don't chase love, money, or success. Become the best version of yourself, and those things will chase you." And I think that is everything that we're basically.
That's pretty much what we've just said.
Trying to say, Well,
so in the first 10 minutes of this podcast, guys, you've got some golden nuggets there. You know, but the thing is, what we say there, I think some people, when they hear that, they'll discount it as common sense.
Yeah.
But what I find is a lot of things in life, the most important lessons in life, are such common sense that they're often overlooked because people just think that they know that naturally. But they don't, like you've just said, Sim, they don't practice that. They assume that it's just common knowledge, but actually living it day to day and making it part of your life and part of your life's mission is something that we don't seem to be doing.
No, it's true.
So as part of today's podcast, when we're talking about success, we're also conscious that success is different for every single individual. And there's not just material obsessions, but there's so many other variables in life that people use to determine their success. And we're not saying to ever give up chasing success, but what we want to promote is more the, you know, when you get to a place that you know you've made it, you're there. You know, you've got to where you said you were going to get to. You can look back on your life and say, okay, I've achieved the things I set out to achieve. What's next? You know, because I think that's a danger. And one of the things that's affected me most in terms of chasing success, and we've talked about this in a previous podcast, so I'm very close to turning 30. So I'm at the stage where I'm looking back on my life and I'm sort of reflecting and I'm coming up, you know, to a decision point of, have I got to where I wanted to get to? And the problem I've got, Sim, is that I never took the time out when I was younger to actually define success. So for me, unless I take that time now, which is obviously what we've started doing, Sim's mentioned the vision boards there. I think they're a really powerful tool.
They really
in
are.
helping you visualize, okay, what does success look like for me? Will it be the big car, the nice car? Will it be the big house? Will it be money in the bank? You know, or will it be helping a local charity? Will it be volunteering? Will it be sticking to a religion or faith? There's so many different factors, but because I never took the time to sit down and actually define what success looks like for me, it's then become very difficult later on in life to feel like I'm successful because I have no idea. You know,
I think there's a saying that says, like, if you aim at nothing, or if you shoot at nothing, you'll hit the target every time. I can't remember how it goes. But basically, they're saying if you're not shooting at a target, you'll hit whatever you're aiming for every time.
It's funny because I actually saw a quote today, and I've never heard it before, but it very similar. If you don't know where you're going, then all roads will lead there.
And it's similar quote. Exactly.
You know? So you've got to understand, and this is something when I go into the local schools here in the Midlands, this is something I always try and put across to the pupils in the schools, because they're at a vulnerable age now where they're still, you know, the age sort of 11 to 16, the secondary school age, where you're expected to understand what's next after school. And we've done this in the previous podcast, The Pressures of a Secondary School Kid. You know, you're expected to know where you want your life to go. And I think I use the word vulnerable because a lot of kids, their futures are determined by their parents. So I don't know what, like your upbringing's quite different to mine, Sim. So we've touched on this, but I think sometimes kids can go down the route of pleasing their parents.
Of course,
And I think that's another trap for success, because I think if you're living your life trying to please somebody else, yes, you may get to be the success in that life and you may please the person. However, inner happiness and inner success,
you're living
that
a
sense
lie,
of success, I don't think you'll ever get. You'll never achieve it unless that is what you're determining your success by. How well have I lived up to my parents' expectations? Which I know as a kid, that was probably not on my priority list to determine my success.
And I always basically thought, I don't really care. No, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't care about what they think. Like, you represent them, and you're, I guess, what would you say it is? Like, they send you out, and you're supposed to represent them, and I can't think of the right word to say, but people look at you and think, okay, this is them. You're their child, so you're a part of them. But that never really bothered me. So I wouldn't let that put pressure on me and make me start to think about that kind of stuff. But you know.
But did your parents ever like put that pressure on you, where you know you've got to achieve this in your life, Sim, in order for then us to view you as a success?
No, I wouldn't say they did. No, my dad always did say you can be whatever you want to be, kind of thing. He always says I'd like you to be this or like you to be that.
Yeah.
But he always says you can be what you want to be, and push me just to be the best in whatever I chose.
This is where I say about myself and Sim with the sort of clashing in childhoods, if you like. See, from my family perspective, my setup was a little bit different in terms of obviously a single parent family, and there was no sort of aspiration, there was no role model there to then, you know, follow in the footsteps of. There was no one there to carve the path before me so that I could follow and hopefully exceed. So again, for me, it was always like, well, pretty much whatever I ended up doing, as long as it wasn't sort of going to prison or anything like that, then, you know, my mum was going to be proud of me, whatever. So what happens then is it's another pitfall where you can fall into the trap of, well, okay, if the standards are set so low, then that's fair enough. I can just pretty much do whatever, and I'll be a success. But from my opinion, what I then had to do, from my experience, was to look around at other people and to look at other role models. So I was like looking at school friends' dads. What were they doing? What car were they driving? You know, where were they working? What were they earning? And it was like basing my level of success on them. Well, if I can end up like those parents, then that would make me a success in life, because I, from an internal family perspective, I didn't have that role model that I could aspire to be. So I had to sort of get that positive influence from sort of external sources, if you like.
I know a lot of people do. I've got friends who have told me similar things. So yeah, I understand. I mean, obviously can't relate, but I definitely understand. So yeah, but basically, so what we've just been talking about, I guess, is what does it look like to you? What does success look like? We've covered the vision board, and we've covered about people having a strong idea in their head of what they want. And I just encourage people, it doesn't have to be a vision board, but have a notepad, have some bullet points, and have an idea of what you want to achieve in the future. The future can be next week. The future can be tomorrow for a day. It doesn't have to be massive. This is something that we always say, Callum.
I'd encourage it from a young age. The younger you can start to paint a picture of what life and success will look like for you, the better, really.
Exactly.
Because like we've just said, you know, if you've got no direction or sort of no sense of destination, then you'll just sail in the wind, and you'll just let it take you anywhere, really.
Exactly.
And a bit like how I am today, where you're sort of trying to define whether your life's been successful, and you have a really hard time because you've never actually defined success. And like I say, the vision boards, I can't recommend enough. And carrying the notebook around with you, when you do get that little bit of inspiration, if you've got something at hand, I mean, we all carry mobile phones on us now. I know you Sim quite a lot. You're always taking notes on your phone. So if you're not one to carry a notepad around, which go on, in 2019, it's understandable. Just get your phone out, go into the notes app, and just write it down. Or the other thing I find that I do a lot, I take pictures. So if I am walking down the street and I do see like a nice car parked up, I'll take a picture. And it's not because I just love the car. I am, you know, I'm big into my cars, but it's just to sort of say, well, what has this person done in order to you know, own that car, you know? And I'm trying to look for the positives. So when we touched on in the other podcast about comparison, where the old me would have probably let myself get jealous by that. I'd have seen the car and been like, oh, you know, what does this person do to deserve that? Whereas now it's like, well, okay, they've obviously put in a lot of effort and hard work, and they've found something that's going to be rewarding them financially to allow them to afford this car. So I want to learn from this person. I'm not to say that I'm basing my success on it, and I'm just going to stand there and look at the car and say, well, because I don't own that car and I've got a car of less value, I'm less successful. Because, as I say, we all base success differently.
Of course,
the same way as if I'm walking along the street and I see a car that's probably a lot less value than mine. I'm not going to judge the owner of the car because for all I know, their house could be 10 times bigger than mine. Exactly, it's just that they've got a different value system and belief system where providing a roof for the family's head was more important than being seen in a flash car. So, you know, you should never base a person on their material obsession, material items that they own. But unfortunately, we ourselves define our success on the material items that we own.
It's an easy habit to fall into. Well, you know, you just said that you take pictures, and I just wanted to say quickly, something that I do, you might think it's a bit weird. I feel a bit funny sharing it. If I see a nice car or even a house that I go past, I literally go up to the car and I touch it, or the wall, and I say, get away from the car. I touch it and I declare it to myself. And it's something that I think I'm just talking it into the atmosphere. Again, the law of attraction, we spoke about it earlier. And if you're into it as much as I am, and I know Cal is, you do attract these things to yourself just by saying, I want this, or I declare this, or I will have this, and then you just then go and act on it. Do your little notepad, your vision board, and just start to live this life that you want for yourself. You ain't going to get there overnight, but one step at a time, and you'll slowly get there.
I've heard a few people call it, they use a term called pre-paving. And it's basically like you're paving the path to your visions becoming a reality. And by sort of already acting and speaking and thinking in such a way that paints a picture or tells the universe that you already own those possessions, you are pre-paving the way. So what'll happen is, you know, like we'll say it again, the law of attraction will inevitably, the universe will conspire to bring those things into your life, into your existence. But you've just got to believe it. You know, you've got to live as if it's already yours.
Of course.
And then the universe will find a way. And I think the problem is with that, a lot of people, they're reluctant to do that because they may feel unworthy. You know, we've had these problems ourselves, Sim. We've had conversations about this, that if you truly ask yourself, you know, what do you want in life? A lot of people are scared to answer the question because they just feel unworthy. They're carrying around regrets and baggage and things they've done that, you know, in previous years gone by that they may have reconciled, they may have like gotten over, but they still feel that, you know, well, maybe I don't deserve success. You know, there's all these amazing people doing amazing things that are very successful, but that I don't deserve that. So therefore, any opportunity I get to be successful, because it brings attention to me, and I might not want that attention, I'm going to deny it, and you know, I'm going to turn my back on it because I'm not worthy of success. It's a book I was reading, The Untethered Soul, and in this book, he talks about Michael, I'm trying to think of his surname, I'll get back to it in a minute. He talks about the sun, and he's basically saying, you know, if you turn your back on the sun for 5, 10, 30, even 40 years, the moment you turn around and look at the sun, it will still shine on you. It won't say, oh, but by the way, you've not looked at me for 30 years, so give me a bit of time and then I'll shine on you. It's there, it's immediate. It will shine on you just as much as somebody who's been facing the sun for the same 30 or 40 years that you've never looked at it once.
I like that.
So it's always there. And I feel that success is also always there for anybody. You've just got to turn around to it, face it, identify what it's going to take to get there and what it means when you've got there, what it feels like, what it looks like. And I can promise you that it will come. It's there for anybody, regardless of ethnicity or religion or background or, you know, childhood traumatic experiences. If you set out to achieve anything in life, I think that you can get there with the belief.
You've just said about what it feels like. And that's something that I know I keep bringing up conversations that I've had today, but it's one of those weeks for me where I've seen certain people and things have stuck with me. I was speaking to my grandma and I was talking to her about how basically my mission in life now is just to pursue peace. I've said earlier about internal feelings, and I just want to feel peace. I said to her, I just want to feel like, you know, with that feeling of floating on a river or a stream, on just on a raft, and just to be gliding. That's how I want my body to be. Like I'm just floating in thin air almost. And I said to her, I want peace. That's all I want, just pure peace for my life. I guess That's what success will feel like to me.
Yeah, that sense of peace. Yeah.
On a whole. And what my grandma turned to me and said, she says, there's a saying that they say you must seek peace and pursue it. And she turned to me and said, Sim, you must seek peace and run it down. That's what she said to me. And that's something, again, that will stick in my head forever. Like, and to me, that's what success is. I don't know what you listeners think or what your views are. Please, as usual, leave your comments. Let us know what you're thinking, and we will get back to you. We always read as much as we can. Yeah, and it's much appreciated. Your feedback and support is what keeps us going.
This is what sparks the conversation. And as we've always said, guys, myself and Sim, we do take the time out to read the emails and read the messages and comments. Yeah. And it helps us. It kind of feeds us in a way. It gives us the topics to discuss at the next podcast. Yeah. Just to rewind sort of 5 minutes, I mentioned the book, The Untethered Soul. It's by Michael Singer. Okay. And I've read this book over the Christmas period, and what a fantastic read it is. Yeah. It's all about, how we all get caught up in our thoughts and emotions. And really what we should do is we should stay seated in the seat of consciousness, and we should remain there as much as we can. Yeah. And to stay in that sort of stable position, regardless of life events or occurrences, and then our emotions and feelings around those occurrences. What we should do is still have the feelings, still have the emotions, but just allow them to pass through us and let them go. And then we can remain in the seat of consciousness. But what a lot of people do, a situation will occur, they'll build emotions and thoughts around it, and then they'll jump into the thoughts, and that's it. They're lost in their thoughts, and they're living in their thoughts. They're living in their emotions. But what's scary is a lot of people, and I've done this myself, you start making decisions based on those thoughts, based on those emotions.
And that's the worst thing you can do.
And really, we're not our thoughts, and we're not our emotions. We're a consciousness that should remain stable at all times, and allow these feelings, this energy, if you like, to just come and go,
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a book, again, that relates to what you've just said. And I think I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, called A New You by Nicola Cook. And in fact, if anyone who's listening right now hasn't heard of that book and they feel like what we've been talking about today has really resonated with you, I'm going to offer a free book to you. I'm going to actually, because I've got a few of these books, A New You, Nicola Cook. If you put your details up and say, yes, I want the book, the first person that says it, I will pay for postage and packaging and send it to you for free. So,
There you go, guys. Not only great advice, but also we're giving treats away as well.
So keep tuning in.
Now I feel bad because I've got nothing free to give away. I've got a nice plastic cup full of water in front of me if anyone wants to give me their details.
Well, no, yeah, seriously. I really feel passionate about it, so I don't mind sharing knowledge. If I can learn, I want to help someone else to learn, and hopefully it's a domino effect. They can help someone else to learn, and that's how things should work, really. So, yeah, the first person to comment and say, me, please.
Me, please.
You will have it.
I feel like commenting myself there. I've not read that book, so I
can't have it. So, yeah.
You've made a note there, Sim, that I've just been reading it, and it's kind of sort of firing around in my head there. Yeah. Does that say what stays? Just explain the note to me, Sim, because that looks like a really good... is it something about things that can be taken away?
What steps can someone take to begin?
Okay. So you need to start looking up on your handwriting, Sim.
Well, yeah, I know. I need to start writing in capitals for a start.
To be honest, I think the first step is, like we've already said, Sim, just spend a bit of time on your own. And I know that a lot of people listening, their levels of success will be determined by their parents or their religion or faith. And I think that does make it difficult in terms of what it means to you on a personal level. We're not saying that, sticking to those principles means that you're not successful, because by all means, we fully recognize that sticking to a religion is a huge success. And anybody that does that, should be proud of themselves. And if that is what you're basing your success on, then well done to you.
Yeah, definitely.
But also try and take it one step further from that and look at, how will it feel and what does it look like? Get your vision boards out. The first thing I would do is sit with a big blank bit of A3 paper, and I would just let my mind go crazy. And if you sat, even better, if you sat next to a printer, you're on the internet, just trawl the internet, look at pictures, anything you like. What is it that drives you? What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? Write on it. What do you want to feel like? Do you want to be full of energy when you get out of bed? Do you want to be singing on your way to work because you can't wait to get there to know that you're going to be making a difference? That's, to me, is the first step to defining your success. And you know, what you then do, I suppose it's reverse engineering it, you know, work backwards. Look at what's on your vision board and ask the questions, how, you know, and what you can then do is kind of, granted, it depends what age you're at. You can only do so much at certain ages and you're limited, you know, but at least put some steps in place of what will it take to get me to that position, to own that car, to buy that house, you know, to buy my relative this item. Some people, you know, success, I've always said to me, I'd love to buy my mum a car, you know, so that's always in the back of my mind.
I think,
and sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on.
I was just saying, so that's always in the back of my mind, but sometimes that can be detriment to me because obviously I'm still in the position where I've not done that. So then do you start questioning, well, am I unsuccessful then because I've not done that? You know, so you do need to be careful with these things.
Well, I was going to say, Cal, I think for me, what you want to do as an individual, whoever you may be listening out there, first of all, decide what it is that you want to be a success. So whether that's a footballer, a boxer, a doctor, an engineer,
a podcaster,
you know, whatever it is, find out what you want to be, then put that down first. And then what you want to do is do your research on people who are already doing the craft and how they go about their day-to-day life to improve and to get better. And remember, you have to start somewhere. Okay, if you go onto a pitch of grass and you're blowing within 30 seconds of running, you're not the only one. And many professional footballers weren't good at fitness when they first started, and it's just determination and grit and belief that's gotten them to where they want to be. So decide what it is that you want to do, write that down, find out the steps it takes to become this, start to practice these steps, install them in yourself. And remember, we've said in the past, it takes 28 days to make a new habit become permanent. So after 28 days of doing this, it will then become embedded in you. And it's like natural now. It's clockwork, isn't it? So I advise you to do that. Find out what you want to do, how you're going to get about doing it. And before you know it, you'll be underway. And try to surround yourself with people who are on a similar path.
Yeah, that's the key. That's
one of the most biggest things that I've found. Surround yourself with people who want, it doesn't have to be the same career or the same goal, but people who are got the same drive, the same ambition, the same focus to go out there, get these things for themselves and not take no for an answer. It's like, I will get it by any means necessary.
Yeah, so the great bit of advice there about surrounding yourself with like-minded people. You know, there's so many sort of entrepreneurs, business people now that will tell you over and over again, you know, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll tell you what you're going to be earning per year within 2,000 or 3,000. I'll tell you what your dreams are. I'll tell you what your next 10 years of your life's going to be. So, you know, be honest with yourself, look around and try and see, you know, the people that I'm hanging with at the weekends, are these people good for me? Are they good for my energy? Do they lift me up?
Do they bring the best out in you?
Do they bring the best out in you? Yeah, you know, you've got to get around people that are going to push you, and also get around people, I think, that see you as the finished product. They see you where you don't see yourself almost. You know, they've got that much belief in you and that much of a great vision for you that they see you doing the things that you'd love to do, even when you can't see it and believe it yourself. That's a big step to make sure you've got the right sort of support network around you.
Definitely. And like I always say, guys, we are human. We're all going to slip and we're all going to have, you know, a little bit of a tough time here and there. But at the same time, if we can stay focused and do what we want to do and remain around these people, you'll soon bounce back. Yeah. Everything is seasonal, good, bad, and the in-between. So if you're down right now, all you have to think is, I will be up at some point. If you're up, prepare for being down and then coming back up. And, you know, it's as simple as getting your mind in gear, in order, and preparing yourself for the journey ahead.
Yeah, some great bit of advice there for you guys. And I just to wrap it up really, for me, it's just touching back on a little bit what we said earlier, Sim, is just to believe that success is there for everybody. It really is, regardless of everything. It's there. You know, don't assume that because you've done something, or because you grew up in a certain part of the world, or your parents would split up, one of your parents was died, you know, don't ever think that any of these play a role in you as an individual becoming a success. All you've got to do is, as we've said, define it, reverse engineer it, look at what it takes to get there, study, research, and just go after it as if your life depends on it, because to be honest, it does at the end of the day.
It definitely does. And one last point I'd like to make, it's about living in the present moment. So like Cal's just said, don't worry about the past and what's gone wrong or what's not gone right. Some people worry about the future. How am I going to get to where? Because they know where they want to be. And then because they've got such a clear idea of where they want to be and they're not there yet, that can stress them. So it's like it's an opposite kind of stress. But I think if you live in the present and you look at where you are right now, try and every second, every minute, live in that second for what it is, live in that minute for what it is. And you can't get stressed living in the present. That's something that I've learned. And it's a book that I'm reading at the minute called...
Is it the power of now? Is that the one you're telling me about?
The power of now. And that's what it teaches you. Living in the present, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. So yeah, I'd advise that to everybody. And that's another book that I'd definitely put forward and tell people it is worth a read. Definitely
it's the only to me, it's the only thing you can control. You can worry about the past. You can worry about what might be. But at the end of the day, the only sort of tangible thing that you can control or determine is now.
Exactly.
This very moment.
Exactly.
And also stop. We've just said it before. You know, stop living like you're living twice. If there's anything that you want to do it now, because you know life's short.
Please do it.
So, I'm happy with that, Sim.
I am, mate.
I hope we've given you some good bits of advice there, guys. And don't forget, Sim's also offered a free book. So anyone, what was it?
The first person, me please.
Me please. Then Sim will get the postage and packaging sorted. So thank you again for listening, guys. And as always, we appreciate your comments. If there's anything on today's podcast that sort of resonated with you, if you're struggling to sort of define success, please just get in touch. You've got the email.
Yeah.
Give us a follow on the Insta. We've got the social media channels coming up.
Yeah.
And please subscribe to our YouTube, just so it keeps you updated every time we release a podcast.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Okay, guys, that's a wrap. So thank you very much for tuning in again. As always, your support is really appreciated. We really do like the feedback that comes through. It helps us make the podcasts even more relative. So if you do have any feedback or comments, I'll hand you over to Sim to take you through our social media platforms.
Yes, thank you again, guys. And our platforms are, first we've got our email. It's the AABB Team. That's the AABB Team @gmail.com. We're also on YouTube. You can catch us at AABB Team. Please subscribe to our channel. Also, we're on the Instagram, and it's the AABB Team again. That's the AABB Team YouTube, Instagram. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
This podcast was recorded and edited by Prince Bazza.